Hi, everybody. Sorry to keep you
Doc,
waiting.
no worries. Thank you so much, Dr. Jill Stein. I know you are so busy right now, and we just greatly appreciate you giving us even a few minutes.
Well,
And these
I'm
are my producers right here. So you're really
awesome.
talking to me, but maybe we'll tease them because one of them went to Princeton, and since you're a Harvard grad, we can make fun of Princeton.
Yeah.
We can make fun of them all as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, that's what I like to hear. Okay, well, the first question's first. You're going super viral, but what is the Green Party? I agree with the Green Party. I'm very anti-war, but for somebody's like, what is Jill Stein's platform? Can you just tell the person that doesn't know about the Green Party what they need to know?
So we're a people-powered party. That's like the bottom line. We are not paid by Wall Street and the war machine or big pharma or big oil or, big real estate to support policies that favor them. Unfortunately, that is how our political system works. That best democracy money could buy, which is no democracy at all. And, that's like kind of a problem for most people in this country who are being thrown under the bus and have been for quite some time, and people are tired of it. We got a healthcare crisis. Half of all renters cannot afford to keep a roof over their head. They're paying, they're severely economically stressed just trying to meet their rent. A lot of people in debt. 44 million young people can't get out of student debt. A lot of medical debt, and here we are, squandering $1 trillion a year. It's like half of the congressional budget is paying for the endless war machine. And, it's like creating death and destruction around the world. And the symbol of that right now is the genocide in Gaza, which the people of this country do not support and want an immediate ceasefire and a weapons embargo. The problem is we have this disconnect. We've got this political system which is bought and paid for. So that's where the problem is. The Green Party is about meeting the needs of the American people and really restoring the promise of a democracy, which is on it's on life support at the moment.
Wow, Dr. Jill Stein, what a great answer. And you are so right. How do we solve the problem in Gaza? Because, I see a lot of people that I go to a lot of protests, and I see now there's waning support. But if you say we want a ceasefire, you're anti-Semitic. And I don't want to seem like I'm anti-Semitic, but obviously I don't want innocent children to die. I see these videos, so it makes me sick. So how do we navigate a very sensitive topic, in your opinion, Jill?
In my opinion, the most anti-Semitic thing you can say is that it's anti-Semitic to oppose genocide, which is kind of what you're being told if you go to an anti-genocide demo and you're told that's anti-Semitic. That's like saying it's okay with Jews to conduct genocide. And I'll say, as a Jew who grew up just after the Holocaust in a Jewish community, attending a synagogue, singing in the children's choir, a true believer, I was really taught that genocide must never happen again, not to anyone. And I grew up with that, deep in my DNA that, we must not allow this to happen again. It's happening again. And it doesn't matter who it's happening to, this must not be allowed. And we're watching this daily slaughter on our iPhones and our computer screens, which is just absolutely horrifying. How do we solve this? This is about international law. It's not a question of how to solve it. This is straightforward. It's actually not complicated. The bombs and the bullets have to end. The genocide stops, and the president can simply pick up the phone and make that happen because we are co-sponsoring this genocide. This genocide is enabled by U.S. weapons. We provide 80% of them, by our tax dollars, which are providing the military aid, by diplomatic cover, which the U.S. is providing for Israel, and intelligence. So the minute the president says it's over, it's actually over. The problem is that the Biden-Harris White House, as well as, Trump and the Republicans, are all for it. They're all on the payroll, basically, of AIPAC and the war profiteers, which put enormous amounts of money into this. Like President Eisenhower warned us a long time ago, the military-industrial complex has taken on a life of its own, and it's creating war after war. But these wars are an utter disaster, and they are endangering us with expanding conflicts that's heading towards a potential nuclear confrontation, including in the Middle East, as well as around Ukraine and China. So this is endangering us all, and it's also impoverishing us here in the US. Spending $1 trillion a year on the military, we don't have the resources that the American people urgently and desperately need. So this is a win-win to start obeying not only international law, but US law. US law says we may not provide military assistance to countries that are interfering with the delivery of humanitarian aid, which is kind of an understatement right here, and violating humanitarian law, and also violating nuclear weapons treaties, which Israel is also doing. So on all these accounts, this ends the minute the president picks up the phone. And if we are in the position of winning this election, we're not waiting for inauguration. We're picking up the phone. And let me just say that every vote against genocide, every vote for our campaign, because we are the one anti-genocide campaign on the ballot across the country, really available for like 95% of voters can vote for our campaign. Every vote against genocide is a shot across the bow of the empire, telling them that we, the American people, oppose this war. We are organized and we are coming. And this ends, this ends immediately.
Well, that was very well said. It's sad that a lot of people are probably even going to criticize that answer, even though I think it was, very eloquent. But then, it's funny how you bring up how they want to help people. But I saw that during the crisis right now in Gaza, at one point they said that they would pause the shooting. And you have a cat too? I have a cat. Oh my gosh, such a serious thing. Dr. Jill Stein, we love cats. We love them.
Oh, definitely. Cats are in control. For sure.
Yes, cats are the best. Okay, but real quick, I just have a serious thing to say. I thought it was very weird in the Gaza Strip, because you've spoken out about this, how they said they were going to stop a ceasefire temporarily to vaccinate the people in Gaza. Did you see that, Dr. Jill Stein?
Oh, yes. And they've had a lot of trouble actually doing that, getting the pause to allow the vaccinations. And let me say, good luck on the vaccinations, because when people are, nutritionally compromised, their immune systems aren't working anyhow. So, this is like the whole vaccination thing, I think, is it's like a cover up. It's like kind of a token gesture, but let's just stop the bombs and the bullets and allow food to be, to enter the Gaza Strip again.
That's my point. Wait, you can give them vaccines, but you can't give them food. I'm just like, it just seems a little absurd. Okay, we only have you for a few more minutes. Now, we want to ask a couple things. And going back to the Middle East, I can't believe this whole interview is about that, but you have spoken that we need to open up an investigation into 9/11. Now, I believe that there's 28 pages redacted from the 9/11 Commission report, so obviously we've not been told the even official story. And under George Bush, he said in August that he was briefed that there was terrorists that had a plan to, fly planes into buildings, and he just didn't take that threat serious enough. That's what he told us in Condoleezza Rice. So for me, I'm very passionate about getting more truth when it comes to this subject, and getting, help for the families of not just the first responders, but the victims. I don't think that they were sufficiently helped, in my personal opinion. So what is your stance about 9/11, and why is that controversial for us to ask that we want more information about it?
Well, it really shouldn't be controversial. And, according to Senator Graham, who was the chair of the 9/11 Commission, their work wasn't done. Their work had only begun. So I would just echo the conclusions of the chair of the 9/11 Commission, which is that we need a full explanation here. And there's a lot that has not been, addressed. We've got as many questions as we have answers at this point.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Okay, now real quick, we got to get into a little bit of the drama. You're fighting with one of the most famous congresswomen in the world, AOC. Now, I'm not a big fan of AOC. Her and I have actually had a little online drama, believe it or not. But she's coming after you, and it kind of makes me, I'm Dr. Jill Stein. I'm on your team, but what do you say about those allegations that you're not serious? And why is she coming after you when I think that she would agree with you on a lot of your policies?
Well, she has certainly adopted many of our policies, including
Green New
the Green New
Deal.
Deal, for
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
which was like her signature issue, which was our signature issue starting, let's see, she was 2018 and we launched it nationally in 2012, but we launched it, in New York with Howie Hawkins in like 2010, and the Greens in Europe had launched it before then. So this was a very green issue. And, talk about predatory. Well, how about, hijacking our issues and not even giving credit where credit is due, pretending like she had sort of invented this. But, I think there doesn't need to be a personal spat here. The issues that she raised are absolute nonsense. I don't go away. This is kind of the work that I do. What goes away is the press coverage, but not my work, not the Green Party. And why would she take offense at not sufficiently growing the Green Party? I mean, why even get offended? I mean, clearly she's got marching orders to be the attack dog here for the Democratic Party. Before her, it was Jamie Harrison, the head of the DNC, and he was trying to smear me as a Russian agent. After that was put to rest by the Senate Intelligence Committee, they just totally laid that to rest after a 3-year investigation that found absolutely nothing
For
to
one dinner with
support
Putin,
that.
is that one dinner? And they said that you worked for Russia. Is that what
Well,
they
it wasn't
accused you of?
even a dinner with Putin. I was at a international press event to uplift our agenda as U.S. Greens to basically get rid of nuclear weapons. We need a nuclear weapons ban, which the rest of the
I
world
agree
is
with you
supporting.
on that. Hey, wait, Dr. Jill Stein, I have to, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. What about the theory that they lie to us about the true power of nuclear weapons and that we have big bombs, but they can't blow up the Earth a million times over? Have you ever heard that conspiracy that nuclear weapons are often used as a threat? And have you ever heard that, or is that too
Well, I've
cuckoo
heard
for
all
Cocoa
kinds
Puffs?
of reassurances about nuclear weapons. Don't worry, these are just tactical nukes. And don't worry, because it's over there. It's not
Mhm.
here. But if you take one nuclear armed submarine, it has the equivalent of 5,000 Hiroshima bombs. It doesn't take, and those are considered tactical these days. Hiroshima is like a tactical as opposed to a full powered nuclear weapon these days. And if you just, have a exchange of nuclear weapons that doesn't have to be that big, like 100 bombs, something on that order, or even less. You're basically putting the whole world into nuclear winter. What does nuclear winter mean? When you see that mushroom cloud, think of it
Mhm.
as a conveyor belt. It's lifting up debris into the upper atmosphere where it doesn't weather down. So you basically dim the lights across the whole earth for decades, and agricultural production takes a nosedive, which means we all starve. So you can't have a nuclear war anywhere and think, oh, don't worry about it, it's over there. It just boggles my mind how these warmongers are ready to risk our lives for their campaign contributions, basically, for the support of the weapons industry, which is making out like bandits here. We should not have nuclear weapons whatsoever. And to your
Well, they used nuclear weapons as a premise to start the war in the Middle East. They said they had weapons of mass destruction. They didn't. They lied. So
That's right.
I
That's
mean,
right.
it's just the government lies about so much stuff. Well, we only have you for a few more minutes now. We have to ask you when it comes to you graduated from Harvard and you also got your medical degree from Harvard as well, and then AOC went to bartending school. So we just wanted to make that very clear and that you are very smart. Now, Jimmy, my producer, I let him ask a question. Jimmy,
Well,
what are you going to
yeah,
ask? Please be respectful,
I
Jimmy.
will be respectful. So, does it ever bother you that you went to a lowly school like Harvard when you could have gone to Princeton?
Dr. Stein. He's an idiot. I don't. I'm not pulling any punches. He went to Princeton. I'm like, do they have a special needs program there? Because I don't know how he got in there. So, I mean, Jimmy, come on.
Well, I just wonder, I mean, did you not get accepted into Princeton, I'm guessing? Or
I, yeah, that may be. I don't remember. It was a while back, I gotta say. Um, and I'm not sure if I applied to Princeton, to tell you the truth. Was Princeton even co-ed back in my day? It may not have been.
that's actually a good point. It wasn't.
Yeah, I don't think it was. And in
We didn't-
fact, the school that I applied to was actually Radcliffe, as opposed to Harvard. Radcliffe was like the women's school. So
Oh,
while I was
interesting.
there, it went co-ed, and it totally went downhill, I gotta say. It was great while it was a women's school. So technically, Well, I guess, Radcliffe and Harvard had a common faculty. So I suppose I went to Harvard, I was admitted by Harvard, I think, not just Radcliffe. But I say, UMass, if I had
Is
it to do
college a
over
scam?
again.
Dr. Stein, is college a scam now? And I think all the kids that are on college campuses like the Green New Deal's position on marijuana. How does that? What is your stance on marijuana before you go? That's our last kind of
On day one,
question.
marijuana is legalized and it's
Ooh.
taken off the list of, whatever that FDA list is. It's off because it's certainly far more, shall we say, innocent than nicotine and alcohol, et cetera. It's pretty benign. So it's the illegality that allows the drug cartels to have a lot of money, a lot of power, and create a lot of violence, especially south of the border, and drive a lot of people running to our country for refuge. So we say, we need to treat substance use as a public health problem, not as a criminal problem. And that starts with full legalization of marijuana on day one.
Dr. Stein, follow up on that. So if you get elected and legalize at day one, can we celebrate with a party, perhaps with that legalization? Or
Jimmy, are you inviting
Yeah.
Dr. Stein to a marijuana smoking party? Jimmy, you're
No, I'm not insinuating anything.
No,
I think
you're
we should
not.
just celebrate
No, okay,
together.
but I want to, Jimmy, let me make a serious point. I have a senior cat. This is Sky Bear, and if I didn't give him CBD sublingual drops, he would have terrible arthritis. So
Is
it
that
not only
so?
helps,
Wow.
yes, it not only helps
Yeah.
humans, it helps
Yeah.
cats. So we do need to legalize it. And then before you go, Jimmy, did we miss any topics? I think we hit them all.
We talked
did we miss-
about her. The only one we didn't really hit was like, do you think you can actually win like viable third party
Oh,
option?
okay. Yeah, I guess that's
Sure.
the last thing. I mean,
Yeah.
because the Green Party is a smaller party, and we have a two-party system that's rigged. I think it's rigged because
It's
two
totally
parties.
rigged.
But I mean, what is if you can't win, which is it's going to be tough. I mean, what is I guess the whole essence of the campaign? Is it just awareness for the Green New Deal and your party's
Well, let
policy?
me say every vote for our campaign is a vote against genocide. And I really encourage people, do not hold your nose and vote for genocide. If you vote for genocide, you're basically endorsing and enabling it. So every vote for our campaign is a shot across the bow of the empire and the genocide establishment, saying that we're here, we're getting organized, and we will not allow this genocide to continue. So it's very important on those terms, but also in terms of providing healthcare as a human right for everyone, for creating rent control, because half of renters right now are at risk, one or two paychecks, and they're and they're out of a place to live. We got skyrocketing rates of homelessness right now. We have emergency after emergency, which are not being solved. So we're saying there is no lesser evil here. We've got one party which is conducting a genocide and the other one which is saying, well, let's hurry up and finish the job. So we're saying there is no lesser evil. Our job is to forget the lesser evil and fight for the greater good. We have everything to gain and nothing to lose by standing up for the solutions that the American people are demanding. And remember this, there are going to be 3 pro-genocide candidates on the ballot, RFK, Trump, and Harris. They could be splitting the pro-war vote 3 ways. And remember this, in 2020, 1 out of every 3 eligible voters declined to vote because they weren't buying the 2 establishment campaigns being rammed down our throats. If we get the word out that there is another way forward that answers the need for jobs, for a living wage as the minimum wage. We're calling for a $25 an hour minimum wage, a wage that actually working people can live on and support a family on. If you want healthcare as a human right for everyone under a Medicare for all system, which actually saves us $500 billion a year because we're wasting so much money, so much of our healthcare dollars are just going into red tape and paper pushing and the big high overhead of the current healthcare system. If you want a Green New Deal and to actually solve the climate crisis by creating jobs, no worker left behind, but real jobs that will actually solve the climate crisis, we can have all of this. And we can cut the military budget that is robbing us blind, impoverishing us while it's endangering us. We've had catastrophe after catastrophe in one crazy war after another since 9/11. So we need to end that, cut our military budget in half, put those dollars into actual security here at home. We can fix this. If we get the word out to the people who are most impacted, they could be coming out and registering like never before. And we could see a complete black swan event in an election where we've already seen, one black swan development after another. So I'd say don't count your chickens here before they hatch. The American people are really hungry for change. Let's let the American people decide. Let's get the options out before them. Thank you for being real journalists here and, actually getting the word out to the American people who need to be informed and empowered to make the decisions that we need to make about what our lives and our future look like. I would not raise the white flag of surrender here. However far we get, look, if it's 5%, we have a whole lot of funding in the next race and we have ballot status. So we can actually begin the real race from the beginning instead of having to fight to claw our way onto the ballot because of the way that the rules are rigged. So even getting to 5% really changes the dynamics for the long haul. But this is going to be a long fight. Stopping the genocide in Gaza is not just a matter of stopping the bombs. We also basically have to dismantle empire. We need to move from the monopolar world, the world ruled by one country, which is what it is right now, to a multipolar world. We need to move from being the bully in the schoolyard to being an adult in the room among the community of nations, abiding by international law and using diplomacy and human rights to, get this figured out and to work our way forward instead of creating one war after another. The Congressional Research Service says that the U.S. has sent in the military 250 times in the last 30 years alone. So this is a foreign policy that's not working for us. It's not working for the world. We need to change, and we need to stand up and change it. So however far we get in this election, we're that much further when we keep moving forward. So don't let them talk you out of your humanity. Don't let them talk you out of your vote. We have every reason to stand up and demand the solutions that are within our reach if we act with the courage of our convictions and vote for what we need, what we want, and what is actually within our reach.
That was incredible. Then you made me remember the last question. This is Dr. Stein, not the presidential candidate. Have you noticed an increase in young people after the vaccine rollout? That's a controversial question. How do you answer it?
I would have to look at the data to see. I mean, it was acknowledged that among people who were vaccinated, there was an increased risk. You have to weigh that against another data set, which is that among people who were not vaccinated, there was a markedly increased risk of death and hospitalization. But this is a moving target, and it's changing constantly. It depends on the strain of the virus. It depends on who you are as well as to what are your risks of side effects from the vaccine versus benefits from immunization. And, as a medical doctor, I have realized that I am not going to do an end run around the data. And with my, whatever it is, 20 years of science education, you can't figure it out from what's in your head. You have to look at the data. It does have to be data driven, but that data has to be protected from influence peddling, which is why, I support getting big pharma out of our regulatory agencies and actually closing the revolving door between industry and our regulatory boards so that we have actual public servants, not people whose income depends on the welfare of big pharma or, medical device industry, et cetera. We need to have people who do not have conflicts of interest, reviewing the data, making the data available to we the peoples, because it's, it can be translated into real English and it needs to make sense to us. And that's how the decisions need to be made. So I don't try to, to prejudge it in any instance. What I think we must demand is to get the conflicts of interest out of our regulatory boards. And that includes getting Boeing out of the FAA so that we can be sure that we're on safe airplanes. It means getting Monsanto out of the FDA so that our scientists are, are deciding what kinds of precautions we need about GMOs in our food or pesticides in our food, et cetera. There are a whole lot of decisions here, and it's really hard for any one scientist, or informed layperson for that matter, to follow this stuff. We need the power of science, but it has to be protected against conflicts of interest. That's not too much to ask. That's just basic democracy, and the American people deserve that.
Well, Dr. Stein, you said it best. Really, I encourage people to really look into your platform. You're, in my opinion, a genius, and I appreciate you making time. But I wrote you a little song before you go. And since I'm Alex Stein, you almost feel like my mother or maybe my aunt. I might lie and say that you are my aunt so I can get into nightclubs and special events. But before I do that, I wanted to write you a song. So, it's Aunt Jill. She's back on the scene, running for the prez of the Green Party machine. She's got that eco swag, solar power gleam, fighting climate change like it's a bad dream. In 2016, yes, she made a scene with a Moscow dinner, but she kept it real clean. Sat by Putin, but she wasn't their tool. She was just trying to make diplomacy cool. Yeah, it's Aunt Jill rolling in her Prius ride, talking clean energy cause she's full of pride. Green New Deal, baby, let's make it work. But some be like Jill, she's kind of a quirk. She's Jill Stein, the eco queen, fighting for the planet like you've never seen. All right, that's our song. We love you, Dr. Stein. Thank you so much.
All right, and Dr. Stein, before you go, I want a screenshot. I want a screenshot of y'all holding your cats and smiling.
Yeah.
What's your cat's name, Dr. Stein?
Willie.
Willie. Hi, Willie. All right.
Like Willie.
All right.
Oh,
Three. All right.
Okay.
Smile.
Hold on. Let me hold
Willie,
on.
I'll take a screenshot. All right. 3, 2, 1. That's amazing. And Dr. Stein, I know you're brilliant and went to Harvard, and I still think Princeton's a great school, but
Shut up, Jimmy. She didn't want to go to New Jersey. She has class.
No, I know. Yeah. No, I just
all right, Dr. Stein. We wish you the best of luck. Thank you for making time.
Thank you so much.
Really
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much.
Appreciate it. Love the song. Okay, thank you.
Bye, Willie.
We
Take
need
care.
to stop the war. We need to stop killing all these people. I agree with you.
Yeah, we need a verse about that. Work on it.
Yeah, okay, you're right. Next time, after you get 5% and then we really get the momentum going, please come back. We'd love to talk to you anytime.
All right, sounds great. But it could be 15, and it could also be 26.
20.
And 26 is the magic number, because when you got a four-way race,
26 is what it takes.
26% is the plurality that then wins the majority, because it's winner take all in the Electoral College. So this could actually happen. All right.
26%.
Make it so.
You're the best.
All right.
Bye,
Thanks.
Dr. Stein.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Bye-bye. All best.
My grind so refined, I got no time for no games. Ask